What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today I am going to tell you the secret to playing really great funk improv solos. In my comments lately, I've been getting a lot of requests to do more funk improv tutorials. So today I'm going to give you a really good one about the secret or secrets about how to make your funk improv sound really, really good. Now, the secret is actually pretty easy. It's all in the way you think about playing the notes. When we're playing jazz notes, when we're playing jazz lines, jazz improv, we're thinking linear, like the notes are moving in a line, and they're pretty smooth. When we're thinking about funk stuff, it's not linear, it's way more stabby. And the way I like to think it and teach it is in combinations. So we're not thinking about single notes. We're not even necessarily thinking about a whole scale. We're just thinking about a couple notes. Of course, these notes are going to be in a scale, but we're thinking about a couple notes and coming up with really cool, intricate rhythms with them. So when we're talking about funk, the one E and your E's and U's are going to be really important. So your syncopation is really important. And I like to compare it to a tap dancer. Think about a tap dancer and the way they come up with their rhythms and their accents. That's what we want to do when we're playing funk. We want to use the dynamic, in other words, how hard or how loud or soft we're going to play the note, and how strong we're going to accent the note or pull the note back, which is just as important, and what's going to make these combinations come together. So I'm just going to start off with a C and a B flat, and I'm just going to play them back and forth. Obviously, that doesn't sound funky at all. So I'm going to bring in some articulation into it and listen to what happens to the line as I start putting in some accents and some space around the notes. So it's already starting to get funkier, and you can hear those note groupings. Da do da. That's a combination. The next one. That's a combination. So think of them as like little short fragmented, not even sentences, but just like little phrases or little sayings. Like we don't want a full complete thought when we're playing a funk combination. We just want like this little cluster of notes that go together. So listen again. I'm going to use the articulation to separate things. So it's already sounding funky, but it's not quite there yet. The next step would be adding in a lot of dynamics. Now, when people think dynamics, they think, oh, I just need to get louder or get softer. Not when you're playing funk. When you're playing funk, you need to have goal notes, so your strong notes, and then your setup notes, which are the pullback notes. So when you pull back a note, it's going to make your strong note, your goal note, louder and stronger. So we don't want da ba do ba ba do ba ba do ba. We want da ga ba ga ga ba ga ba. Like a drummer would play, or again, like a tap dancer would tap. We want these pullbacks to be super pulled back so that the accents are even stronger. You hear that? That got way funkier just by pulling back some of those notes and accenting. So then when I'm accenting, you hear that is like the counter melody. So we have this melody, this rhythm going on. You have that thing going on, but then when I start accenting these notes really strong, you get this other almost melody that you hear bouncing around over top. So that's what we're trying to do, is create a counter melody with our accents. And again, it's not only accenting notes, it's pulling back notes. That's what makes the accent stronger, not just hitting them hard. So we have three different types of notes. We have the regular note, we have the pull note, back note, and then we have the accent note. So let's add in another note so that it gets a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to play C's, B flats, and E flats. So I'm thinking in the key of C minor right now. So I'm playing a 1, which is a C, B flat, which is a flat 7, and an E flat, which is a flat 3rd. So in order, it'd be B flat, C, E flat. So I'm going to use these three notes and listen to what I do. I'm going to gradually get funkier. I'm going to start off with just playing the notes with a little bit of articulation. Then I'm gonna play more articulation. Then I'm gonna add in the louds and softs and listen to like the tap dance of it. Listen to the way a drummer would play like on their snare drum to get some kind of like cool rhythm going on. So it's all about the rhythm and the syncopation. So take a listen. Hear that? You hear that? We're starting off just with the notes. Then we're bringing in the accents. Then we're bringing the pullback dynamics in, and that's what makes it funkier. So again, I'm going to use those 3 notes, and I'm just going to play a funk idea for you and really listen for the tap dance. Listen for like the heel strike and then the toe strike and then the accent on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Really listen to that rhythm going on inside of, listen to the counter rhythm going on inside of the rhythm that I'm playing. So you hear I'm doing those pullback notes. I'm also doing ghost notes. Ghost notes are when you play a note and the full note doesn't come out. It's more like just a little portion of the note comes out. So I'm doing it between a B flat and a C. I'm pulling back on the B flat, so you just kind of hear that there's a note there and it could be a B flat. But I'm using it more to set things up. So I have my ghost note, my soft note, my regular note, and my accent note. So now let's talk a little bit more about the combination. So the combination is the way you're grouping the notes together. Like when I play that, I'm not thinking C, B flat, C, B flat. I'm thinking that as one thing. That is one note to me. Maybe note is the wrong word, but it's one little chunk. That's all one thing. I'm not thinking of it as a separate thing. That's one thing. That's another thing. So do you hear I'm grouping those notes together? That's what I mean by the combination. Da-ga-doop, bop boop ba-dee da, bop ba-doop beep ba-dee da, dot, zagoo bop, dot ba-dee da, boo da. Those are combinations, each one. Dee-ga, ba-dee bop, zadoo ba-dee da, ba-doo-dee da. Well, I'm a terrible singer, so I apologize for that. But hopefully you get the ideas of what I'm talking about when it comes to combinations. Now, we've got these 3 notes, the C, the B flat, and the E flat. Now this time, I'm going to throw in some other notes. I'm going to throw in an F on the top and an A on the bottom, just so I can get out of the 3 note combinations I'm doing, and I can get an extra stab in it. So I'm going to have these combinations with a stab. You hear what I'm talking about with that F? F really makes it extra funky because you have this thing going on and then it's like stab, stab, stab. So it just like brings out the syncopation and the articulation even more. This time I'll add the one on the bottom too, the A. So on the bottom, notice I wasn't stabbing as much. I was like pulling it back even more. It's almost like a doo-wah, a doo-wah. So I'm pulling it back. So again, if I want these stabs to be really strong, I have to play things quieter to make the stabs stronger. So we have all these different attacks and dynamic values going on that makes this music sound really cool and makes your funk line sound way, way, way funkier. Now, when we're talking about bebop and jazz, we have a bunch of scales and a bunch of notes that we can choose from that's going to make the lines kind of move forward and give us a bunch of motion. When we're playing a funk solo, oftentimes it's going to be over a groove where the chords aren't changing that much. So you're going to need to use your articulation, your rhythm, and your dynamics a lot more to make it sound cool. So here are some more combinations. This time I'm going to get out of just those 5 notes. I'm going to go beyond that, and you'll hear some more complex combinations, and I'll talk a little bit more about those, but this is your starting point. Just trying to get the stabs, the counter rhythm going over top, really bringing out your E's and your ands, and using your setup notes, the pullback notes, and your ghost notes to make your articulation stronger. Take a listen. So when I'm playing, I want you to think about it like a tap dancer. A tap dancer is dancing, or a drummer is drumming and taking a solo just on a snare drum. So it's all about the tension and the release. You're bringing it in, you're hitting the stab, you're setting the notes up, and it's all about like combining those notes, the combinations. So when I'm playing that, be-da-da-da-da, I'm not thinking of separate notes. That's one thing to me. That's one chunk. That's one combination. That is one combination. That's one chunk. So I don't want you to think of that as separate notes or single notes. It's just one thing, and you put these chunks all next to each other, and you kind of keep switching them around a little bit so they fit together perfectly in your solo. So that is the secret to making your funk improv sound really good. It is setting up your notes and thinking of them as combinations. It's thinking like a tap dancer, and it's having different values and the dynamic level in your notes. So we want the soft notes, we want the ghost notes, we want the regular notes, we want the goal notes, and even the stab notes. And then of course we want shorter articulation. We don't want, we want these notes to be short. So if you were looking at a manuscript paper and reading the notes, it would just be a whole bunch of 16th notes with rests all over them. So we don't have like a bunch of 8th notes connected to each other or 16th notes connected to each other like in a bebop line. They're just like, it's almost like a splatter of notes on your page in a crazy rhythm. And then, of course, taking these chunks, these combinations, and putting them together so that they make sense. And that is how you make your funk improv sound extra funky. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. If you now understand how to use combinations in your funk solos, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. Comments are always welcomed. Thanks a lot.